Hi, I'm Barrett.
And I'm Brandon.
And we are Bionicfitness.
Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about inactive glutes, desk posture, and preventing hamstring tears, disc injuries, and lower back pain, right? Most people have inactive glutes because they sit at a desk for work for long periods of time throughout the day. And so, Barrett, if you can demonstrate for me what this looks like. For people who are sat at a desk, their hips are closed all day, right? What ends up happening is that their muscle will tighten up with this positioning. And so there's a muscle called the iliopsoas, or the hip flexor, that connects from the femur or the leg bone, crosses through the hips and attaches into the lower back. So when this point and this point are tight and pulled together, what ends up happening is you end up with a dip through the lower back and pressure through the lumbar spine, and you end up with pressure in the hamstrings that gets pulled too, right? Because your glutes are elongated and there's pressure on them, kind of like you're foam rolling them, they become deactivated, right? So Barrett, if you can stand up for me. If we take a look here, with a tight hip flexor muscle, what this will cause is an anterior pelvic tilt. If you take a look, Barrett's pelvis is dumped forward because everything is tight through here, and he has this lower back curve that we just mentioned, right? If he corrects it by tucking his tailbone in, he can feel, Barrett, do you feel that your glutes turn on and your abs turn on? Right? This is the correct way of doing it. We're also taking pressure off of the lower back. We're also taking work off of the hamstrings and putting it into the glute, which is where it belongs. That's a large muscle that can take that stress, right? If you can come down onto all fours, I'm going to show you how to activate the glutes properly. I know a lot of clients of mine talk about how they do all kinds of glute work, but they don't feel like their glutes are getting much out of their workout, right? So we're going to do this incorrectly first to kind of demonstrate what this looks like. So Barrett, can you lift your leg up? As you can see, Barrett is dipping through that lower back. The erectors in the lower back are taking over, and the hamstrings are also taking over for what the glutes are doing. The glutes aren't doing very much right now. They're kind of soft, but that's because the lower back and the hamstrings have taken over because he's got sleepy glutes. All right, let's bring it back down into neutral position. This time we're going to do it correctly. I want you to extend that leg out, keep the toe on the ground. This time we're going to give a little bit of a crunch. We're going to activate those abs to try and support the lower back. We talked about this in the cat-cow video we did. And what I'm going to get you to do is keep nice and strong through that core, and now lift the leg up. As you can see, his back is still fairly neutral. His leg is being lifted more so by the glute right here. This glute is nice and fired up. He's got buns of steel here, right? Yeah, nice glutes. And here the erectors are supporting his spine but not taking over, and the hamstrings are doing the same, right? So if you want to come on back down. For people who have inactive glutes, their hamstrings, because they're so tight, will cause inflexibility, and then when they try to do a movement or achieve a movement with a large range of motion, their hamstring can't elongate that much, and it ends up tearing, which we don't want. Also, that curve and pressure through the lower back that we talked about, if you're bearing weight, that can cause a slip in the disc, a herniated disc, all kinds of lower back issues, spinal issues, and lower back pain, which we want to avoid. All right. So while you're doing those squats, deadlifts, hip thrusters, we want to make sure that the abs are nice and engaged, and we're not compensating through the lower back and the hamstrings, that we're using those large muscles, the glutes, that extend through the hips, right? Who doesn't like a good booty?
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Thank you, guys. Remember, if you have any questions or concerns, please comment below, or you can reach us through our Instagram, which is bionic_fit, or of course through email, which is bionic.fitness.ltd. Thanks a lot.